The year is 1960. A Norwegian explorer and his archaeologist wife are walking through windswept grasslands at the northern tip of Newfoundland, Canada. They've been following a rumor, told by a local fisherman, about strange mounds by the shore. When they dig, what they find will obliterate 500 years of history. Beneath the soil, the unmistakable remains of Viking longhouses, built here in North America, around the year 1000 AD. It's proof that the Vikings arrived half a millennium before Columbus. But instead of rewriting history, the discovery fades from headlines, funding disappears, follow-up excavations stall, and the real mystery: this wasn't even the main settlement. The real colony, the one the Vikings truly invested in, vanished without a trace. The explorers were Helge Ingstad and his wife, archaeologist Anne Stein Ingstad. They were no amateurs. Helge was a former governor of Greenland, and Anne was one of Norway's leading archaeologists. Their find at Meadows was monumental. 8 Norse-style buildings, evidence of iron working. A bronze pin identical to those found in Greenland radiocarbon dating confirmed the structures were over 1,000 years old, placing Vikings in North America around 500 years before Columbus. The headlines should have screamed history rewritten. Instead, the coverage was muted. Why? Because acknowledging it would disrupt the carefully constructed myths of European exploration. The idea that the New World was discovered by one man in 1492. For centuries, the Norse sagas, epic oral histories of Viking voyages, spoke of Vinland, a lush, fertile land far west of Greenland. They described timber-rich forests, wild grapes, and a climate far warmer than Greenland's frozen coasts. Historians dismissed these tales as legend until Meadows proved them true. But here's the catch. The site didn't match the saga's description. It was small, housing maybe 70 to 100 people. It lacked farmland. It seemed more like a seasonal outpost than a permanent colony. So where was the real Vinland? Because if Meadows was just a base camp, that means the Vikings went deeper into North America. Somewhere out there, maybe under forests, maybe under farmland, lies a settlement big enough to match the sagas. And yet, no one's found it. Or, no one's admitted they have. Over the years, strange clues have surfaced. Inuit oral histories speaking of pale-skinned visitors arriving in dragon-prowed ships. European-style yarn found on Baffin Island, spun centuries before Columbus. Tools made from smelted iron in areas with no known pre-Columbian metalworking. In 2016, satellite imagery revealed turf-like patterns on Newfoundland's southwestern coast, patterns almost identical to Norse structures. Archaeologists found evidence of hearths and iron processing. But then, silence. The site, nicknamed Point Rosé, was declared inconclusive after just one season of excavation. For researchers, that was baffling. Most digs take years before firm conclusions are drawn. Theory 1. Conflict with indigenous peoples. The Vikings called the locals Skraelings. The sagas describe hostile encounters, arrows in the dark, sudden raids, and ambushes. Some historians believe the Vikings were driven out, but that doesn't explain the total disappearance of material culture across vast areas. Theory 2. Climate collapse. The early 11th century marked the end of the medieval warm period. Colder seas, ice-choked roots, and failed crops may have made North America untenable. But again, climate doesn't erase every trace of a settlement. Theory 3. Deliberate cover-up. This one's controversial. It suggests that later European powers, Spain, Portugal, England, had a vested interest in erasing evidence of pre-Columbian European contact. Why? Because it would undermine their first discovery claims, the legal foundations for colonization, and the political myths nations were built on. Think about it. If a fully intact Viking town was unearthed in North America, it wouldn't just be a historical curiosity, it would rewrite ownership of the past. And for centuries, ownership of the past has meant ownership of the present. Fishermen in Labrador have spoken quietly about stone foundations destroyed during government-led development in the 1970s. An Inuit elder claimed artifacts taken by official men decades ago were never returned. A Canadian historian once hinted that he'd seen Norse artifacts in private collections that were not meant for public display. We can't verify these claims, but the pattern is disturbing. Potential Viking evidence appears and then disappears. In recent years, genetic testing has revealed traces of European DNA in some indigenous populations of northeastern Canada, dating centuries before Columbus. Mainstream historians argue this could be from later European contact, but the dating window overlaps with the Norse exploration era. If true, it would mean some Vikings stayed, integrating into local communities rather than abandoning the land. They didn't vanish through death. They vanished into the bloodlines. History isn't just about the past. It's about control. If the lost Viking settlement is ever found, it would prove that history as we know it is a curated narrative, shaped by those who benefit from it. It would also force a rethinking of contact between the old and new worlds, not as a one-way discovery, but as a complex web of interactions erased for political convenience. And maybe that's the point, because if you can erase an entire town from history, what else can you erase? An empire? A people? An entire truth? The lost Viking settlement isn't just a mystery frozen in the soil. It's a challenge, a reminder that history is written by survivors and edited by the powerful. Somewhere out there, under centuries of earth and silence, the real story is waiting. The only question is, will we ever be allowed to hear it?